Welcome to my channel, everyone. Today we're going to be doing a second stimulus check update for July 13, 2020. So let's just really jump right into it. So what's been going on with this update, man? It's crazy. It's back and forth. Like if you've watched my previous stuff, you know that, like I've said before, there's going to be this news cycle going on. And, you know, what's recently happened is Mr. Kudlow, I think that's his name, came out as just another guy in the administration that basically said, if I can read here, he basically came out and said that um, individuals are going to receive um, a check that's smaller than the $1,200. And once again, they're going to be targeting these individuals who made $40,000 and less. Now, we kind of already knew about the $40,000 and less, and obviously this stuff isn't written in stone, and it's a bunch of this person said this and this and that, but you kind of see the direction that the administration is going here when it comes to the Republican leadership. They're trying to go in this direction where um, they're trying to target the amount. I think they're trying to keep the balance of the whole stimulus bill at 1 trillion instead of going to that 3 trillion that the Heroes Act was at, that kind of was, had a lot of stuff for everybody. But right now, Kudlow is saying that the checks are going to be smaller, which I think that's a big mistake. That's kind of ridiculous. I mean, like, what are you guys going to do? Give $100, $500 to people, take away unemployment benefits for individuals. Like, what are we doing here? And then, I'm sitting here reading this, and it's just ridiculous. It's Mike Pence, chief of staff, told Bloomberg Radio last Tuesday that the Trump administration is eyeing a 1 trillion spending cap because there's been a lot of stimulus pumped into the economy and businesses are reopening. So he's basically saying that the last stimulus check did its job. I mean, last stimulus package did its job, and what do we really, basically we really don't really need that much to really kind of push us in the right direction, which, it's everybody has an opinion on that, and as me doing this video, my opinion is a bunch of, BS, but everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And then he says, I think we want to make sure that people that are still unemployed are hurting are protected. But at the same time, we want to take into consideration the fact that the economy is bouncing back and want to try to contain the amount of spending. Come on. I, you know, so, where are we going with this? They're kind of backtracking, backpedaling now and saying, oh, now we don't want to really give, $1,200 may be too much. We want to also to try to trim down the amount of the stimulus bill. But there's a lot of things that we're missing here. Not only are we missing the stimulus package, the second stimulus check for individuals who need it, who were unemployed, and people who are still unemployed. We're also missing the package for cities and states. How were they affected by this? A lot of those states and cities had to stop things that are going on. And then the news comes out about the school openings and how a lot of schools don't have the money or the budget in the cities and the funds to do what they need to do to protect our children from catching COVID and bringing things home to the family, or giving it to staff members of your community. So let's just kind of go over some of the things that were said. So President Trump made headlines last week when he threatened to withhold funding from districts that do not open their doors and bring students back in person for the fall term. So what Trump is doing is he's saying, hey, if you don't allow children to go back to school, then we're going to start pulling funding and doing all this other stuff to basically hurt your economy, right? And that's ridiculous. You have to give individuals funding, right, for this type of stuff, right? So we have this pandemic going on right now, this COVID, and we're going to send our kids back to school. And when we send our kids back to school, for masks, for plexiglass to protect the staff, our children, and everyone else, where is all this money going to come from, right? The schools don't have all this money. What about schools that are already underfunded? How are they going to come up with this stuff? How are they going to come up with all the disinfectant and money that they have to spend on cleaning everything? The extra hours and manpower is going to take for that to happen. Are they just supposed to magically come up with this money and magically depend on, is the community who's already under stress because they're unemployed and they're trying to make ends meet? Are they supposed to make this just magically appear, this money that to do this for all of our kids? No, it has to come from the federal government. And then we have the government basically telling us, oh, we're not going to give you funding for those things. They're withholding funds, and instead of coming up with a decision, they're trying to keep the stimulus package down when cities and states need this funding so that our kids, if you want your kid to go back to school, that they can be in a safe environment when they go back to school. This is a human being situation where you want to make sure that, like I said, when your kid goes to school, that they will be safe, right? That how bad would it be sending your kid back to school when you know that the staff and the community cannot afford disinfectant, they can't afford masks, they can't afford to put the precautions in place to make sure that your family, my family, everyone's family is safe, right? That we can reduce the risk of COVID transmission, right? So you have to really, when I read all this and I say, man, come on, you guys, come on. You have to support your cities and states, and you have to, give money so that they can take care of what they got to take care of for school. So I'm sitting here reading this, and it says, the president of the National Education Association, which represents 3 million teachers across the country, called Trump's comment a bombshell. She said a close friend from her teaching days has been talking about getting our wills in order. Now, what does that mean? That means that the teachers are scared. They're saying, we're going to go back to teach kids because that's what we love to do, and they're going into a war zone. They believe that they're going into a war zone where they want to get their wills together, that if something happens to them, that their affairs will be in order. So what are we doing here? The government is saying that they want to force our children to go back to school, or make sure that our children have the chance to go back to school, but they don't want to give any money for our schools to do what they need to do to lower the risk. I can go on and on about this because I have kids. I'm pretty sure a lot of my subscriber base and people watching this video, you have kids too. And this upsets me. This type of leadership upsets me. We should have plenty of money going to schools to make sure that our kids don't catch or transmit or have a higher risk of transmitting COVID or any viruses to our teachers, to the staff, to our other family members, our friends and our community members in the cities and states. It's just unacceptable. And that is how I feel about that. It's just crazy. So what do you guys think of this news that's coming out when it comes to schools, when it comes to them trying to lower the amount of your second stimulus check? What do you guys think of this? Please, comment in the comment section. I want to hear from you guys, and what do you guys think of this? And once again, if you like this type of content that I'm providing, please make sure you subscribe, and please hit that notification button so that when I release video like this, that you will be notified. I really appreciate the support, everyone, and I will see you soon. Thanks.